right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 555 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am Vin Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. It's been a while since I've done a show. I mean, went to Disney. I don't know if people know, went to Disney World, took my son there. We had a phenomenal time. Was able to get some things done on the other channel. And this channel, I did a few things here and there, but I want to appreciate you guys for the patience. You guys are awesome. Everybody who has subscribed since I've been gone from doing the episodes, people who have been watching and listening to the podcast, I definitely appreciate it. I kind of got a packed show for you guys, but I'm not going to go too far into what I want to do with this show because of the fact that the second topic, I want to make it a whole episode itself, but I'm going to talk about that later on this week. But nevertheless, we're going to get into this. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, also on YouTube and Rumble. You know, I'm a little rusty here, so if you're watching on the show, it's a little bit of inside baseball. I'm trying to get things set up. Kind of got things a little weird on the screen, but that's just me not necessarily being prepared, and it's been a while, so apologize for that. But nevertheless, we're going to get right into the show, and it's going to be a good one. Once again, I want to thank you guys just for the support. You guys have been amazing, and I can't thank you guys enough. So the background, I'm still working on the room or whatever the case may be. I still got some things I want to put up in here and get things together. So like I said, if you're watching, it's still a work in progress. Still a little rusty from not being around for a week or so. Just got back in and got things settled. But nevertheless, I've said enough about all of that. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Look, Scotty Miller talks about Desmond Ridder, and he talks about him in a pretty good light. I want to talk about this article that I seen talking about what Scotty Miller thinks of Desmond Ridder, and also want to talk about Jalen White. Jalen White, if you don't know much about Jalen White, I've been huge on this kid up since he was a freshman coming out of Daleville, Alabama. He is the running back for Georgia Southern. And I know we have X amount of running backs. We got a lot of guys who can step up and play. I think Jalen White has a big future ahead of him. I hope he does. I think the way he runs the ball, the things that he can do, he can be an asset to some team in the NFL. And I'm not joking when I say that. But I'm going to give you a preview about that because I am a Georgia Southern guy, but I am definitely rooting for this kid because I love what this kid can do even as soon as he came out of high school. And he looks like the real deal, but just haven't seen enough of him because of coaching changes or whatever the case may be. Like I said, we're going to talk about all that. Let's talk about Scotty Miller really quick. Scotty Miller talked about Desmond Ridder in a latest article on AtlantaFalcons.com. Now, I will leave that link down in the description if you want to read the whole article, but I want to talk about this whole situation when it comes to Desmond Ridder because a lot of people have been giving him some type of flack. They've been giving him some type of, not so fair shake. I will say that. He hasn't got a fair shake. He played 4 games last season. Basically, they were like preseason games. And he did show some promise. But I don't think a lot of people are giving this guy a chance to be QB1. And I think that's somewhat unfair, but I understand it. Some of these, fans that's just the way they are. They're going to be that way sometimes. So in the long run, that's just how it's going to be. But I think Desmond Ridder's out here working. He's been putting in the work, trying to get things together for him to be one of the best guys out here in the league, at least in the division. And we're going to see how that plays out. But he had a couple of receivers come into the Falcons camp, Mac Hollis, and then you turn around and you have Scotty Miller. And these guys are like, they're going to be able to contribute right away. I mean, these guys have shown that they could play some ball along with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, Jonnu Smith as well. We're going to have some weapons. But Scotty Miller sit here and said, what he thinks about Desmond Ridder. He said, I think it's going to be good playing with Ridder. I got to see him up close in person in the last regular season game. I really like what he brings to the table. Seems like he has a lot of energy, can create, can throw the long ball, and really can do things you need to do. So I can't wait to get to work with him. Now, a lot of guys who have, some type of, eye of football, I think Scotty Miller does, it just adds on to what other people been saying about Desmond Ridder. You know, I'm not talking about like the guys on Twitter or anything like that. I'm talking about guys that are in the league. You know, people who've been playing with Desmond, watching Desmond grow. And I know a lot of them were actual teammates, you know, being on the Falcons. But a lot of these guys aren't just, you know, saying some things that are, you know, rah-rah. They're saying that this guy's putting in work. He's putting his head down, trying to get the playbook together, doing a lot of things that needs to be done to be a quarterback in the NFL. And now you got an outsider coming in and starting to say some good things that he likes about this quarterback. It's one of the reasons I feel like Scotty Miller did sign with us. One reason why Mac Hollins did sign with us. One reason why Jalen Smith did sign with us. Now, don't get me wrong, Jalen Smith and Arthur Smith does have a connection, but I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the quarterback as well. Well, Jalen Smith didn't sign, he got traded. Yeah, I know people probably eat me up about that. But it's one reason why he's happy to be here. You know, a lot of these guys really believe in Desmond. I believe that they do. I believe they believe in him and they want a situation where he can succeed. Coach Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot put a lot around Desmond Ridder. To be honest with you guys, there's no reason why this kid can't succeed. And I'm dead serious when I say that. If he doesn't succeed, something's wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, how could you not succeed with all of these weapons around you? I mean, we're talking about getting, you know, luxury players in the draft. It's not much of a need. Yeah, you want to get offensive lineman. I get it. That might be a shore up need because even though the offensive line did pretty well when it came to the running the ball, the passing game, you know what I mean? The passing game, and I know we're going to probably be passing the ball more. I mean, you don't get these receivers, Jonnu Smith. You don't, you know, Kyle Pitts is coming back. You get Scotty Miller. You get Mac Hollins. You know, you don't get all these guys coming in here to run the ball more. You know, I think one thing a lot of people don't realize about Coach Arthur Smith does a really good job of playing to his strengths. When he realized that he couldn't throw the ball well with Marcus Mariota, we ended up being like the number 1, number 3 rushing team in the country. Well, in the league. But the year before that, when we had Matt Ryan, we were still able to throw the ball fairly well. You know, so it's really weird, like how Coach Arthur Smith coaches. It's like he learns how to use his personnel properly. And I think that's one of the reasons why we end up going 7-10. Because we were able to get, you know, a lot out of the players that we have. Now, when you turn around and you starting to see a pattern here when we started getting more receivers and you start to see that we're going to try to balance that. Now you're trying to see on the defensive side as well, where we had a pretty decent secondary, we didn't have a pass rush. But to that secondary, we added Jesse Bates. We ended up getting Mike Hughes. We got Tay Davis at linebacker, Caden Ellis. You know, you starting to get these other guys, Anamaya at defensive line, Calais Campbell. This team is actually putting some things together to make things work. And for Scotty Miller to come out and say some things about Desmond Ridder, I think that is absolutely fantastic because now not only the work that he's putting in is actually, you know, being seen, he's got to get confidence from his teammates. And, you know, really at the end of the day, you would want a young quarterback to get the confidence and the confidence and, you know, the thumbs up from your teammates. Now, I don't know how things are going to go. There's still a situation where that Coach Arthur Smith them draft a quarterback at number 8. That's not off the table, everybody. I just want people to know that is not off the table. That can still happen. So we have to understand, all right, what are we doing here to make that, even if that's a possibility, what are we doing here going forward? They said that Desmond Ridder is the starting quarterback. So even if we do draft a guy, they're going to have to try to beat Desmond Ridder out. Can they do it? It's just a lot going on there. But at this point, I don't see them taking a quarterback. I don't see that. I'll be extremely surprised if they take a quarterback or if they take Jalen Carter. I'm still I don't see them taking Jalen Carter. And I know that's going to be really, really upsetting to a lot of fans because they feel like if you're an Atlanta Falcon organization, you got to draft Georgia players. I want them to get Nolan Smith. But that's just another story for another day. Now, let's talk about the other Georgia team before I get out of here. Jalen White, give you a quick preview of this kid. I love this running back, Jalen White. He's been one of my favorite players ever since he came to Georgia Southern. It's kind of weird. He's already a senior, standing at 6 foot 215. This guy's a monster when he's running the ball. If you actually seen him run the ball, he does very well at running the ball. And one thing about him, he catches very well out the backfield too. So I think with the fact that you have this size at 6 foot, probably by the time you get ready for the NFL, I think this kid can get. I think some scouts need to be watching this kid like that too. They need to be watching him. At 6 foot 215, probably a bulk up to maybe about 220, 225, 223. And if he could still run and catch the ball out the backfield like he does, he could be a steal for a lot of people. And I know I've been saying that a lot with Georgia Southern players. You know, Kyle Van Treese, he could be a steal for somebody. It doesn't even have to be a draft pick. Just put him on a team. He can make some noise. You look at a guy like Amari Jones, he should be drafted. You know, I think easily 4th, 5th, 6th round. You got a stud right there. So this is what I'm talking about. Jalen White fits that fits that mold of guys that you may not know too well, because you know the Sun Belt is not getting to shine like they should, and I don't understand why not, because the Sun Belt had something to say last year when they smacked around Nebraska. You know, Texas A&M got beat up, Notre Dame got beat. I mean, you know, the Sun Belt got something to say. You know, so you have these teams who play quality football that could easily, you know, come in and develop players that'll be ready to go. Kendall Vildor is one of the last ones that really showed what they could do. Tyler Bass was another one. You know, so you have some type of talent down here in Statesboro. Like I said, upcoming this season, you're going to have some guys that are coming through the rankings that could probably get some shine as well. One guy who's no longer with the team that I think that should be talked about is Derek Canteen. It's possible that he can make some noise as well at Virginia Tech. But what I will say right now, and I'm not going to get too much more into this, we're going to talk more about Jalen White. I'm going to talk about what he's done in 2022 or 2021 and in 2022. Because he put up some pretty solid numbers under, you know, the situation that he was in. You know, not saying he was in a bad situation, but when you play for 10 games and you almost got 1,000 yards, you know, I mean, when you start 10 games and play for over and ran for over almost 1,000 yards, you got something there. But we'll talk about him later on in this week. So probably next episode, we'll probably get into that as well, because I really want to, you know, get more into that, because this kid as a senior, I think you got something special here that nobody's talking about. You know, nobody is talking about. So we'll get into that. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. It's good to be back. Sorry for the early, you know, kinks and the early tweaks. I had to get some things together, but I'm getting back in the swing of things, y'all. The website, I didn't mention that. I will talk about that at a later time. The website is pretty much done. I tried to, you know, change the domain name again, and I'm getting a run around with that. I may have to just leave the domain name the way it was, because what I wanted to do is much easier to remember, but the other domain is kind of wonky, but hopefully I get some feedback on that. I got to get with my web guy about that. So sorry for the delay on that. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I'm going to get up out of here. It's been a great day, and I will see you guys on Tuesday evening. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.